Hello, boxing fans. What's going on? Coming back again for another edition of J Street Sports, the boxing edition. We're going to talk about last night fights, the card that Top Rank put on. We're also going to talk about Pedraza Comey, the main event. We're going to talk about the Zerto news that just hit this morning in regards to an arrest before his fight. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And with Top Rank, we're definitely going to talk about the matchmaking last night. We're going to talk about Big Baby and his performance and his comeback fight. We may even talk a little bit of historical boxing, from back in the day, get into a few of that. So we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to discuss a lot today. This is part one. I'm also going to go live tonight, 7:30. That's going to be part two to this. May have different people on from the afternoon to the night. My first person that I'm going to add is Mr. Sebastian from Chicago. How you doing, sir?
Yo, I'm doing good. How about you, man?
Hey, doing good, man. It's good to get you up here. That's why I'm doing two shows, because normally I have so many people on during the night. So I said, let me just open this up so I could talk to other people as well, man.
That's cool.
Thank
you
you for
from
coming
South Carolina, right?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Oh, okay.
Yep.
My cousin's in South Carolina.
Okay. Well, I've been there thousands of times.
Yeah.
We all, the same. Hey, also letting you know that we're going to talk about a little bit about what happened last night in those fights. We're going to talk about the matchmaking from last night that was, that was pitiful. We're going to talk about, should there even be a rematch? They're already talking about a Pedraza Comey 2.
Man, I don't want to see
crazy.
That. I don't want to
see
that.
I think that's crazy talk, right?
I mean, that maybe for sure, like on the undercard,
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely not no main event. Like,
nah.
That's one thing I like about boxing more than way more than UFC, because like UFC you could have like 12 losses and you can still headline the main event. Like, nah, that shit ain't cool. Like, what I like about boxing is that you always have to be, the best. And if you lose, you back to the undercards, Like,
right.
And I mean, when the Gabe Rosado dude, he's at like 13 losses, is still headline when he fought Munguia, earlier this year. Like,
yeah.
And
also I'm very concerned about Gabe Rosado health, man, because you think about all the wars that Gabe Rosado been in, and we talking a decade ago, he was bleeding and getting beat up, and he's still doing that today. I mean, like at some point, Golden Boy, DAZN, somebody got to say, look, man, we're going to give you a job in the company, but you can't fight anymore. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes fighters have to be retired. They're not going to retire themselves. Either the commission or the promoter got to step in and say, hey, we got to save you from yourself, man.
Yeah. I don't know. He seemed okay right now, but when now you mention it, I think about that one kid, Gabe Flores. He only got like 2 or 3 losses, but like he already seems punch drunk.
Right. And the legs is what you got to watch, because normally when the legs go on a fighter, they're already injured anyway. You know what I'm saying? When they have no balance. And I seen it on certain fighters. Like, that's not something that normally people look for, but this is something that we should look for. Your balance. Okay. When you got a brain injury, your balance is off. So
that's true.
Even if they talking clear, but they ain't got no balance, it's something wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people around folks, I think that they waiting to see them talk like they got marbles in their mouth. But you got to look for the balance, and it's just a lot of different things. Still up here with me, brother? Okay, Sebastian is having a few technical difficulties, but we're gonna have some other people that come up today as well. So and my man Checkmate, hopefully Checkmate come on up here as well. All right.
My
There we go,
camera.
man. That's better. That's better. All
Yeah,
right.
so I still heard you.
Yeah, but yeah, man. So like I was saying about they wait for him to be talking with marbles in his mouth, but you got to look at the other, things that could be going on, So yeah. So we're definitely gonna talk about that. May get into what's up, Ronnie Bravo. I'm gonna put the link so that if you want to get on, Ronnie, you can. But yeah, Sebastian, we also going to talk in regards, man, to some of those mythical matchups we be talking about, man.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because a guy brought up a great point today when he said that a lot of guys, like for instance, the Canelo situation, he was saying that people feel like Canelo could have competed against Roy Jones, and we all know that not to be true. But I'm gonna say this: I'm not one of those people that believe all old school fighters would just run through everybody now.
Yeah, no,
But,
I don't. Yeah,
but when you start talking about guys like Roy Jones and Floyd Mayweather and Pernell Whitaker, those were such special fighters, man. It's almost like a guy saying, well, Michael Jordan couldn't play basketball in this era. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I made a tweet about it's like somewhat similar. Like I was talking about Michael Nunn, like
right, second to none. Yeah.
Everybody talks about James Toney, the Roy Jones, and the Hopkins, but like nobody really talks about Michael Nunn. Like I feel like nowadays he's mostly known as the guy who lost to James Toney. But like you watch his earlier stuff,
or the
like,
guy that went to prison.
Yeah, and when I went to prison that was crazy though. But like people forget that like he knocked out I can't pronounce his name correctly, but Sumbu Kalumbe. And like one round. And this was like after Kalumbe like beat up a prime Mike McCallum. Nobody talks about Kalumbe like that either in those mythical matchups.
And you said Mike McCallum, man. Could you imagine Mike McCallum now? I mean, as good as Mike McCallum was a great fighter. So, you bringing up some names of guys that aren't considered, the GOATs or anything, but were dominant fighters and at 154, 160. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Speaking, you from Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We're going to get into a discussion at some point about Montel Griffin. And his fights, because he is definitely another underrated guy at a 5'6" light heavyweight on top of that. All right. 5'6". Ronnie, what's going on with you, brother?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing this evening?
What's up, man?
Yeah, we doing good, man. I got a 2:30 show and I'm gonna do one tonight at 7:30 because the last time I did a show, it was people couldn't get in. So I said, well, if I split it up, the times, do a day and a night, I should be able to get whoever want to come on. But look, let's go ahead and jump right into last night action. Before we even get into a fight, let's talk about Top Rank matchmaking first. Because did y'all get a chance to see the off TV, the part that they had on ESPN Plus?
Like I've not seen
Kelvin Davis, Keyshawn brother, the Abdullah.
Abdullah Mason. Yeah, I saw Abdullah fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cora, absolutely. Mike McCallum definitely knew how to break you down. But yeah, so let me say this, man. Top Rank last night put on a show that was just full of knockouts. I mean, I understand that they're gonna be knockouts, but every single fight should not be an Olympian or a guy that's a top prospect fighting someone that you just went in the crowd and said, hey, you want to make $2,000 real fast? Come on and put on this robe and some gloves. That's what it looked like last night. And even the Torres fight. Now, I've seen a lot of knockouts where guys get taken out on stretchers and all type of things. But to have this guy not even look competitive and then it looked like, I mean, this guy was out shaking everything, and ESPN, not ESPN Plus, ESPN put the camera dead on this man's face while he was out.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard he had to get up on his own.
Hold on a second. I didn't know it was you, Sakura. You sitting up here incognito. If you want to come on, you can. But yeah. So did y'all see that? They like.
No, I didn't see that. I just heard that he had to get up on his own and walk out on his own.
Yeah.
I saw the Caneda. I saw the Torres Caneda fight. Man, that Caneda guy. I thought I saw him delivering my mail the other day. That's how out of whack he was. Like, right. First of all, like you said, that whoever made that matchup should be in prison, because when you look at somebody like Torres, who's a decorated amateur, he's an Olympian. Mm-hmm. I believe he's a 4-time national champion. He's silvered in Tokyo, I do believe. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to say he has the greatest skill set, because when I look at him, I see a ballroom brawler. But he was totally he wrecked that dude. Mm-hmm. Like he totally wrecked that dude. That dude, and when you fall flat on your face like that, is always dangerous. That guy he fought don't have a future in boxing, in my opinion. But I didn't like I'm glad it took him like 2 minutes to get up. I do believe, and they had to walk him out of the ring. Whoever did the camera work is so dirty, because they had a picture of him crying. They was filming him on the ground crying. I mean, the guy had just got embarrassed on national television. But that fight should not have happened. And there was a lot of fights last night that shouldn't have happened. I'm sure we'll get into it, but that was one of them. Yeah, you had an Olympian versus a mailman. Yes,
absolutely. And I hope that Sakura can come on, because me and her was talking. We was tweeting back and forth last night while it was going on, because I sent out a funny a meme last night of gymnasts jumping and just running through and just jumping through the ropes onto the ground, because that's what it looked like last night. Like, those knockouts were like spectacular, something crazy happening. Guys jumping up in the air after getting hit, guys sliding on the floor, guys going to sleep. I mean, out there shaking, having seizures. Like, I understand what she was saying last night, that a lot of times as these guys are young in their career, trying to get opponents for them are tough. And sometimes it's the second or third, opponent to fall out. And also, I'm going to take into consideration the fights were in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Any of y'all ever been to Oklahoma?
Nah, I have not.
Okay.
No.
I was stationed in Oklahoma. What's up, Junebug? And
what's going on, fellas?
Ain't too much. I'm talking about that matchmaking from last night. In particular, we're talking about the Torres fight. Yes, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the boxing admission had to improve the fight. Absolutely. And the physician not sending him look. So in New York, y'all know that the big lawsuit that occurred when the Russian fighter years ago fought Mike Perez, he ended up becoming pretty much a vegetable, because they sent him to the hospital in a cab after the fight, after he got knocked out. And I'm just saying to y'all, man, that stuff last night in Tulsa was pitiful. I blame Top Rank. I blame the commission. I blame everybody, physicians. Like, if you a doctor and you see someone having a seizure from getting knocked unconscious, and you just put ice on him, and then you help him, it take everybody to help him. He can't even sit on the stool. That was the other thing. They took the man, he couldn't even sit on the stool. They stood him up, walked him out of the ring, or let him walk himself out of the ring. And then on top of that, they put the camera in his face. They had the man shaking. They had everything. They had him crying. Like, what do y'all think about that, man? If you saw it, or, just hearing it. I mean, what do y'all think, man?
Yeah, that's what Top Rank likes to do with their prospect. They like to hype them up, seem like they're this killer, like these perfect fighters. So, like,
Right.
You know, I think they do that and it's like, you know, really tacky, you know, because you know that's just like regular people that they put out there. It's not like they're also fighting, you know, like legit competition or decorated, you know, Olympians like they are.
Yeah, go ahead, Junebug.
Man,
First of all, what's up, brother? I've been trying to catch you for the last I don't know how long, man. You all right down there in Mississippi?
Yeah, man. I've been having to squeeze time, man, with kids, man, going back to school and then trying to develop my son. Got a lot of stuff going on with him, man. And getting back to work because you know I had this rotator cuff surgery in July. So man,
throwing all them 98-mile-per-hour fastballs, man.
Man, I would, man. You know what? I stayed away from baseball, man. I was a good athlete coming up, man. You know, you was a good athlete coming up, man. Everybody always talking to do it, but I had to stay in my lane, man, which was football and boxing, man. I had a lot of cats like, man, play baseball, but when I seen that ball come through the zoom and hit them gloves,
I got you, brother.
But man,
night, go on, hit on that.
Last night, man, like I said, I didn't see it, but I didn't see the fight exactly, but I seen, you know, the clips from social media and stuff like that. But man, this stuff going full circle in boxing, man, to whereas then boxers got to be smart and stuff like that and get what they worth and stuff like that. And I want to kind of bring up like some of the incidents where you use Earl and Bud situation right now, whereas in Bud saying, hey, give me what I'm worth. And also, it also goes to the test that you have to have a great team around you. You know what I'm saying? To where people are not only going to just ride your coattails, but actually look out for you when they sense something's going wrong and things like that. Because at the end of the day, like you say, man, they'll put you in a cab and send you to. They ain't gonna look out for you like yourself. You're gonna look out for yourself, man. And it's sad that that's what boxers go through and things like that, man. It's just very unfortunate. But, you know, you just got to have a good team around you and be very more smart also outside of the ring than you is, you know, inside of the ring when you're dealing with this sport. So.
Yeah, and also, man, you know, PBC lately, people have been saying that PBC has been matching their prospects against prospects and how wrong that is. I actually think that that's perfect. The reason I say that is because if you're a promoter, why do you want to waste money putting guys in all these showcase fights? Because that costs money, you know, paying everybody that you know going to go in there, and they're not necessarily taking a dive. They're just, you know, they're just going in losing because they qualified to be in that fight. And so, you know, sometimes I'm not saying and Secure is right. It's hard to find opponents that want to get beat up by Olympia because they want a huge payday. You're right. So that's why if a guy's an Olympian, you don't have to always fast track a guy, but you can get guys that maybe are over the hill but are veterans. Not someone that's just going in there to lay down. It's someone that your guy may have an advantage with, but is going to get rounds and is going to get, you know, they're going to get a fight, you know. So, yeah, go ahead, Ronnie. You want to finish up?
Well, it's just a lot of it is just common sense, really. I mean, when it comes to this matchmaking thing, like you're not going to put a GT 500 and race it against a Toyota Camry. I mean, what do you expect is going to happen? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just like I said, it was just that guy. He didn't belong in the ring with them, and I still got questions about Torres as well. But when you have somebody as decorated as he was with his amateur pedigree, you can't just put him in the ring with just any old Joe Blow guy. Put him in there with I wouldn't say a gatekeeper, but kind of like put him in like just in there with just another prospect. I don't understand what's the.
Or I think maybe like just a more. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with journeyman, but like a more experienced journeyman that has like, I don't know, at least 20 fights or so.
Yeah,
like
or not even 25. At least put him in there with somebody who didn't just get their boxing license 6 months ago.
Yeah,
right.
Because that's what it looked like. Like get somebody in there whose record is probably like 11-9 or something like that. If you want to. Make a showcase, but it's just that was just disgusting to me to watch. A lot of that happened last night. This entire card, really, outside of the main event.
Yeah, because the Jeremiah Milton fight He hit a guy, and people were saying, nice knockout. And I was like, yeah, nice knockout. But then I started thinking and looking at it. I'm like, man, it looked like this dude got hit with a crazy looking uppercut, somewhere up near the head somewhere. And he just slid on the floor. Like, I'm saying this, man. We have seen in boxing at all levels, guys get in the ring and fight against other guys, and they know they don't have a shot of winning. So they say to themselves, I'm not going to get hurt. So the first thing that looked like something, I'm just going to fall on the floor. Because in one of the fights, I seen the guy get knocked down in the Big Baby fight. He got knocked out, and he's sitting down there. After getting counted out, he starts smiling and laughing. Like, come on, man. And I like Big Baby, but I got to call it like I see it. I'm not going to lie for any reason for you. The Big Baby beat up this guy that had a glorified 24-2 record that I never heard of or seen. I think he was from Slovakia. He hit the guy with a good combination. They hit him with a decent body shot. The guy fell. They counted 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see the guy on the floor. He looked up at Big Baby and started laughing. I'm like, what? Yeah. Now, did y'all see that?
I be missing a lot of fight cards nowadays. Now I miss the Tank Rolly card. I miss the Devin Haney Cambosos fight.
Yeah, you didn't miss nothing. You just missed the guy getting jabbed to the head and had no shot.
I wanted to see the Tank versus Rolly fight, but I was out with my girl. We were getting pizza, and they didn't have no boxing on tonight, which really pissed me off because I wanted to see it.
Right.
But I think because he's like laughing because like, you know what, I'm gonna get my money. Because I think nowadays, because back then they used to like, if you somehow like, I guess like through a fight, they would like suspend your purse and ask you like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I read like George Foreman versus Bert Cooper.
Oh yeah,
George Foreman hit Bert Cooper like in the liver. Bert Cooper quit, and then like I read that like his purse got suspended of like $200,000.
Yeah, that's old school boxing. We used to see, and I remember watching some fights on HBO. Matter of fact, this fight gonna bring back some nightmares for us if you saw it when Bernard Hopkins fought Murad Hahakar, and the guy took off running in the middle of the ring. So, and they were talking, and HBO in like round 2 already started talking about his purse getting withheld. So I don't have a problem with withholding purses, but at some point I do. If a guy just straight up overmatched, but in a championship fight, it's no excuse. But yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Shout out to Bert Cooper too, man. He could,
the first person that knocked down Holyfield.
Absolutely, he could punch. And he was another 5'8", 5'9" heavyweight on top of that.
Yeah.
Well, I give him 5'10" maybe, but short. Yeah. So anyway, what did y'all think about Big Baby fight last night? Go ahead and start me off, Ronnie.
Okay, so when it comes to Big Baby Miller, no question.
No, hold on, not Big Baby Miller.
I'm sorry,
Jared Anderson. Jared, the real Big Baby.
The real Big Baby. I'm sorry. My bad. Anderson.
That's okay.
I don't know why I said Miller. Jared Anderson, Big Baby Anderson. So when it comes to him, no questions that I had last night were answered. None of them. Because he was in there with a guy who didn't have a post. So the questions I came into that fight with were, how was his gas tank look later on in the later rounds?
Didn't get
answered. He knocked the guy out in 2 rounds. I know it was an 8-round fight, but I wanted him to at least get to round 6 to see if I could check that off the books. Then I wanted to see if his power translated in the later rounds. Wasn't answered. He went in there and steamrolled the guy. I wanted to see if the guy was disciplined enough. I guess we won't find out if he's disciplined enough to change his style until we find out a guy who put him in the ring with a guy whose head will actually move. And when he punches the guy ain't going nowhere. We're gonna find that out, I guess. I want to see.
My bad. You can keep going.
Oh no, I'm just going to finish up. I wanted to see if he can truly move his head. That wasn't happening. He was getting hit quite a bit. He was in the line of fire a little bit, but the guy
with that right hand.
Yeah, the guy didn't have enough pop to really put him in trouble. So that didn't get answered. I guess we'll find out when he gets in there with someone quicker. And then also to piggyback off that, I wanted to see about his chin. He did a lot of catching and shooting last night, but he didn't really. He was getting hit with that right hand, but the guy didn't have anything for him. He has. I like Jared Miller, I really do. He has solid fundamentals. He has a mixture of that high guard. He mixes that with his shoulder roll. So he's from Toledo, which is home of the great legendary Dale Williams, who taught the shoulder roll to Floyd Singer.
That's right.
Yeah, so he's actually in that pedigree. So he has a skill set, but I didn't get any questions that I had last night. So he needs a step up fight. He needs to stop fighting these guys that he's been in the ring with. A guy that was also on the card I would like to see him mix it up with would be Efe Ajagba.
Perfect fight for him.
Yeah, that's a perfect fight. We can knock out two birds with one stone because I got questions about him as well. Or if they want to do him something better, he can go fight and team up with the Zone. They can go fight Philip. What's his name? Philip Hergovich, the guy we were talking about the other day. Yeah. Flip Hergovich, or the guy who actually beat him in Zhang. So put him in the ring with one of them guys. I don't want to see them fast track him to. I know I had some people who were saying they want to see him fight the winner of Ortiz and Ruiz. I think that's way too much, way too soon.
Well, those guys have slowed up so much that if you are a real legitimate prospect at this stage, you're supposed to be able to beat both of them. But I understand what you're saying though. I 1000%. I got those same questions and none of them got answered. What you think, Junebug?
Well, actually, like I say, Ronnie did a good thing, said a good thing. Like I say, none of the questions was answered and stuff like that. But again, we've been talking about it. That's top ranked matchmaking and things like that. So
they're the best at making it look good.
So I wasn't feeling nothing. Like I was saying, I was turned off from his ring interest, man. That to me, that just did some injustice to me. That ring interest. But I just stick was in the ring and stuff like right there.
Hey,
right now.
for some of us, man, it brought back bad memories. I wanted to turn the TV off.
and what really upset me is when you add that one to the previous one, you coming out as a pimp. You just like, man, this is another one of these dudes. But like you say in the ring, you didn't answer any kind of questions, and it's almost like it's a little confusing because you feel like he has the talent. You see something where he can be the next big thing, but at this point now, you're kind of like it's a lot of questions. I haven't seen the things like that to where I'm almost thinking that if you put him in there, like for instance, I want to see him get Sanchez. That's the fight that I want to see him against.
That'll be a good one.
That's because that fight right there makes him, to me, answer those questions. See how he's going to be with somebody's moving, somebody that's going to make him force him to see, do I got a gas tank? Somebody that's going to move their head. I don't think he wins that fight.
And Jumbo, let me jump in there real fast. Sakura said that he wore that outfit because he was fresh back from an injury, and it had been 260 days since his last fight, so he felt like he had been in prison from that. Yeah, but that don't say nothing about the pimp. And they said that was supposed to have been a tribute to Pimp C. But go ahead and finish up, Junebug.
I can think of a many ways to celebrate coming back other than that one there, because especially we know what that means in the black community there. I don't know where you get his inspiration from, but like I said, I want to see him get Sanchez because I think that's the perfect fight to make him reveal if he's there or not. To me, like I said, the guys that Ronnie mentioned are good fights too, but I think Sanchez forces him to show that he can move and really use that shoulder roll that he think he got. It's gonna force him to see if he got gas in the tank and things like that. So that's the fight that I want to see him in. Overall, it's kind of hard to judge how good he is because, like you say, who did he fight? He didn't really fight nobody where you can walk away from it and say, hey, this is going to be the truth. Like I said, to me, the only top prospect that Top Rank has is Shakur. Everybody else been just getting good matchmaking. And I think if it wasn't for certain situations, Shakur wouldn't even got a chance to get that Valdez fight. So, I mean, I think he got potential, but That's all I can say, man. I ain't really seen enough for me to just go on and start saying, "Hey, that boy next." I ain't seen that.
Sebastian, hold on before you jump in. Sakura said that she didn't say about the outfit. She must have been talking about he was fresh off the injury. Okay, I say that the outfit must have felt like he had been 260 days, so he must have felt like it. So
What somebody said,
he said the outfit was for his brothers who were in prison. They say, but
that's what I was just
lied to the Ohio player. Look, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But either way, I'm gonna tell you something. Mike Tyson, and I can't remember exactly who the other fighter was, but they used to give messages to guys that was locked down. Sebastian, what do you think about Big Baby overall? Big Baby Anderson, because we know about Big Baby Miller, but maybe that should be a good fight. The Big Babies need to fight.
I'll say kind of what Ronnie already kind of said. Like, we still have not seen much about him because we've only seen him go for like 1 or 2 rounds against bums. Like, I'm looking through his page and his box rec, and I don't see anybody that I know of. Maybe they're better than I thought, but they just seem like I guess like journeymen and whatnot. So it's really hard to say what I think of him because I haven't seen him I guess like pushed to that level. And I think that's kind of like a thing that promoters, they kind of struggle to do. They either push him kind of like how John Mugabe was, you probably remember, but he was like knocking everybody out in the first, second round. But then he fights Marvin Hagler, gets knocked out in the late rounds because he doesn't know what to do.
Right.
Or
didn't have that gas tank.
Where like he fights like Winky, Ike Corte, Trinidad, and Oscar after like 20 fights, and then like he's like washed up by the time he's 27.
Yeah, talking about Fernando Vargas.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm gonna say something. I'm glad that you brought up about careers like Fernando Vargas and other guys. I actually would enjoy it more watching guys have careers like Fernando Vargas than watching guys have these Julio Chavez Jr. careers. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because even with Boots Ennis, I like Boots, but Boots Ennis should have got a shot a year and a half ago. I don't like the way this era make guys have to have 35 and 40 fights before they get an opportunity. Or before we make a super fight, guys got to be this age or that age. That's why I've been pushing for Devin and Shakur to fight each other because, look, P.S., this ain't going to be popular, what I'm about to say. I like both of them guys, but we don't know if they're all-time greats. When Mayweather and Corrales fought, it was a great fight because you had the best fighting at the same weight or right around the same weight class. All this, well, we got to wait for the legacy. We got to get this fight out in the way. We got to wait 3 years. We got to get it at this particular weight class. That's all crazy, man. That's all crazy. Let me tell y'all something else. Stevie Johnston, a former lightweight champion, and Shambe Mitchell, a former junior welterweight champion, fought in like their 5th or 6th fight.
Yeah, I remember.
And Stevie Johnston knocked out Shambe Mitchell. Guess what? It never prevented Shambe from going on and winning the title at junior welterweight 2 times. So all that stuff about we got to wait and it's going to hurt these guys' career, one have a L. I thought that sports was about wins and losses.
Yeah.
But,
it's also very psychological too. Like, you don't know, like, how somebody, bounces back from their first loss and whatnot. Because some of them, they can recover and they'll end up being fine. But then some of them, they don't. Like, for instance, like, now this is like way back, like, George Foreman, like, lost really badly to Ali, but he still kept going. It wasn't until he lost to Jimmy Young, and then then he fell into depression and retired for like 10 years.
Yeah, and he came back knocking people out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Guys take it like Francisco Bajado lost a fight as a prospect and was never the same, never went anywhere. Hector Camacho Jr., when he lost a fight, he never was the same, never end up fighting for a title, nothing. So and that's for you, Sakura, because he was Bill Puerto Rico, but he was really from Florida. Hector Camacho Jr. So I mean, look, man, I agree, and my assessments of Big Baby is I would like to see Big Baby before because I don't think that he's ready for Sanchez. I think if he can get past Ojaba, who Sanchez beat, and he can handle him, and also it'll be a shot of seeing can he take a right hand. The younger the better. They come back, the experience Canelo gained. For example, early loss, came back, dominated. Only early loss as far as his age, exact, because Canelo had, if I
like 28 wins.
Yeah, he had more wins than Mayweather when they fought each other, and he was, over a decade younger. But yes, guys like Canelo use the early part of their career as their amateur career. You can learn from it, a loss.
Yeah, because Canelo and Boots, they don't really have much amateur experience.
Tio is a Florida guy, always saying Brooklyn, but go ahead, Sebastian.
Yeah. No, I was saying with guys like Boots and Canelo, like they don't have much amateur experience, so it kind of does make sense for them, because I think Canelo had fought 35 bums before he fought like a former world champion or something like that. So I don't necessarily mind because Boots, he's not holding any belts hostage, So overall, I would like to see him in the world title mix. I think he'd beat Bud, but I don't say this too much.
Man, you about to have Bud people come and blow me all the way out of the water for letting you say that.
Well, I mean, Bud fans are saying the eye test matters more than resume. So if I'm going to the eye test,
that'd be a good debate.
It is.
I think that's the fight to make, and I honestly think that's what's holding up Boots. Everybody, don't get me wrong, like I say. We got to go back and look at the pandemic with about a year and a half, 2 years ago, stopped a lot of big fights that could have been made in that year and a half, almost 2 year time frame. Mm-hmm. But with that, a lot of people, because everybody know I ride with Earl. Everybody think I'm from Texas. I ain't from Texas.
No.
But I just tell the truth. If you want to look at that welterweight division, I think that's who held up a lot of the championship fights. Because you look at it, man. Besides before Porter. But out of those two with belts and stuff like that, or either when Pacquiao won it from Keith and things like that, Bud was the only one that had time on his hands technically that could have given you that Boots fight. You know what I'm saying? Earl was Earl had his mandatory after his car wreck with Danny Garcia. Right after that, he started trying to negotiate for his title. Bud had to get made to fight Sean Porter. That could have been that Boots fight then. You know what I'm saying? So when that situation right there, I think Earl ended up fighting Boots before Bud does, because I just don't see Bud moving. To me, it looks like he's settled with I'm gonna be a Hall of Famer already. Cause
he keeps talking about it. I'm gonna add.
People actually surprised. Real quick, because people be actually surprised about this fight being held up, but Bud already said this 2 years ago. I remember when they first started really talking about making the fight happen. He was like, I don't need Spence. I'm already in the Hall of Fame. If it's not, he literally said he may not even take a 50-50 split. He said if anything, it had to be 60-40 in his favor. And everybody's gonna be blaming Spence, but Spence is the one who got all his belts by beating the champs. He's the bigger draw, and even then I feel like Spence is saying 60-40 split. That's actually pretty fair. All things considered, considering how much Bud isn't a draw and how weak his resume is at 147. Especially when we considered fights in the past, when Floyd fought Oscar, he took a 25-75 split, if not worse. It was something ridiculous. Oscar was getting 50 million and Floyd was getting
but Floyd still, even in that, he still got his career high payday in that fight.
That's
something. And I'm gonna tell you, exactly, Ronnie. And I'm gonna tell y'all this, man. And I never try to tell any fighter or athlete what to take, what type of purse, what type of percentage. But I will say this part though: as long as you get compensated, it shouldn't matter what the other guy getting. If you get your career high payday and they make everything great for you, then you should just take what you're gonna take. And also an example of what Sakura said in the chat, she was saying a bunch of record building fights. I agree, but I also agree that a lot of these champions today at welterweight or any weight, listen, every single fight is not gonna be a career defining experience for you. It's not gonna be a mega fight. So if you beat a whole lot of solid contenders, for example, at lightweight, okay? I'm not saying Devin the champ, whomever is the champion. If you can defeat, say, Frank Martin, Isaac Cruz, Gervonta Davis, I'm just saying, just go down the list and beat guys. In the past, I can remember a guy like Chavez, for example. He would have 1 or 2 big fights during the year. But in between those big fights, y'all go back and check this out. He might take 1 or 2 off TV, over the limit fights against 2 cab drivers just to stay sharp. And we don't see that. So to me, we don't get a chance to see guys at their absolute best anymore because they don't stay active. So that may be the reason why a guy might not want to even try to fight Boots, because they like, oh man, that guy young, he hungry, he been fighting, I'm gonna go get paid, you know. But I stand by it. Every fight is not gonna be a mega fight, and also in order to get to a mega fight, you got to build it. You got to build it, and it takes years of. If y'all can remember, even when Leonard fought Hearns, it wasn't considered a mega fight. We look at it as a mega fight today because of what they end up being. At the time, it was just a blockbuster, unified title fight. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Because
going back to did you watch that Showtime documentary on the Four Kings?
The Four Kings, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I really liked it. They really knew how to, put things in perspective and whatnot. It was a good watch.
That was like a good golden age. Like I said all the time, I've said on this show a few times, we in a dark era of boxing right now. Because back then, those guys were not only good fighters inside the ring, but you would see them guys on everything from Sesame Street, all kinds of TV shows and everything.
Right, 7-Up commercials.
Like now, you can't nobody name me one boxer now that you would see outside that's being marketed like an athlete in any other sport. It's almost like boxing is almost a dying sport.
That's a fact. Art Man, how you doing, sir? Art Man?
He mute look like it.
Art Man, you mute. Okay.
Well, let me say this right quick.
Go ahead.
While he gets situated.
All right.
Going back to the Earl and Bud thing, when in terms of like Bud wants to be, he already stamped his way into the Hall of Fame. Here's the thing about that. Is he a Hall of Famer? Absolutely. But based off his skill set, yes. Not his resume. His resume at 140 was weak. Yeah, I understand he was undisputed, but who did he really fight to get those belts? We can go through them. His resume as of now at 147, I wouldn't say it's weak, but it's not, it's not the top of the creme de la creme. His best fighter that he's ever fought at this point would be Kell Brook, in my opinion. That is not enough.
Well, not at the time he fought Kell Brook.
Not at the time he fought him, but the best
name.
overall. Yeah, the name.
Yes.
The biggest name he has in terms of name that would carry would be Kell Brook.
Right.
So when I look at that, it just makes me cringe because like these, and especially when you compare him to people like Floyd Mayweather or something like that, it is a huge difference between Floyd Mayweather's career and all these other guys' career.
Everybody that's boxing today,
right?
Yes,
and because everybody wants to be, exactly. Everybody wants to be Money Mayweather, but they don't want to be Pretty Boy Floyd.
No, because Floyd if they be Pretty Boy, they'd never make it Money Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather started his career in 1997, I believe.
No, 90. No, he started in 1996.
96. Okay, so he started in 1996. By 1999, he was already number 2 pound for pound behind Roy Jones, in front of Felix Trinidad, in front of Oscar De La Hoya. Why? Yep. Because he went through Gennaro Hernandez, who was a big deal back then.
He was lineal too.
He was lineal, and Angel Manfredi. He went through Diego Corrales. He fought some killers at that point. Now after that, he started tailing off. You know, once he finished 135, went up to 140. He started tailing off. But it's just like these guys, they just don't understand like what he had to do to get to that point to command the person and demand not even the respect, because he really didn't get respected until after he retired.
And let me say that, and I must say this too. Like I said, everything you said is absolutely right. But now I got to piggyback off, because look at it. I look at it as boxing don't want another Floyd Mayweather. Somebody that can command that kind of money. So it's a lot of promoters that I think don't even want that to happen for their fighter. Like I say, even don't get me wrong, but I ain't a PBC hater, but I don't even think Al would want that, you know what I'm saying? Because the closest he had that could happen over just recent years would be Earl, who was a fighter that say, hey, let me fight everybody. Even before he had the chance, he asked for the best fighters that was at the top at the time. Keith Thurman with the ponytail was the shit 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And those are the fights that Earl wanted. And Al could have put him in position and made that mandatory and things like that. So I think a lot of promoters, if they see that kind of talent, they don't want that to happen, because guess what? Now you got to pay that guy like you had to do with Floyd, and they don't want that to happen again. A boxer that can command that kind of much money and things like that. So I think a lot of that goes into now the promoter saying we got to cap this guy out, because if we let anybody get close to Floyd and things like that, we ain't gonna be able to control him, and it's gonna hurt our pockets more so. But see, Floyd broke the mold.
Right. Yeah, and that's extremely telling, considering that Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk both are going to make north of $70 million. That's more than both Earl, Bud, Gervonta Davis, any of these guys, these so-called draws. That's more than their entire net worth in one fight.
Well, a lot of that part too is just probably just because like heavyweight purses, because as much as I did, because I'm not the biggest fan of heavyweight boxing for the most part, but like they seem to command the most money. It's always been like the biggest division.
Yeah, but Vladimir Klitschko didn't command that kind of money.
True, that's a good
point. And I mean they getting a lot of that Middle Eastern money, and also let me say this, and not just that, but and they say the purses are gonna be that, but what are they really gonna bring home too? Because the other thing about fighting in those particular countries is if something goes wrong with your purse or whatever, you won't be able to recoup it.
Well,
they don't have no commission like that, you know what I'm saying, in Saudi or Dubai, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and a lot of times why fights fall through is because those countries will say they got that money and then won't put the money up. So hopefully them guys will get that. I'm pretty sure Anthony Joshua had some sort of money already given to him before he even made his appearance.
Oh, trust me. Yeah, he gotta pay Robert Garcia, who's commanding at least $7 million.
You think so? You think he get that much? That's a Robert $7 million?
10%.
If Robert got $1 million, I think that that's a blessing. Because
he commands 10%. So if you made $70 million,
well, that's normal. I agree in a normal fighter, but in the Anthony Joshua, he's gonna tell you what he's gonna give you. I give you an example. When Don Turner, my mentor, when he started training Evander Holyfield, right? Evander Holyfield told him what he was gonna give him based upon the level of fights. And if he got a knockout, he got a bonus. And I'm gonna tell you how good the bonus was. When he knocked out Mike Tyson with Don Turner in the corner, he bought a training camp on about 100 acres of land in what's the name of the little town in North Carolina? It's outside New Bern. But anyway, you can
New
pull
Hill.
it up. Don Turner Camp. They
New
call
Hill.
it Oriental, North Carolina. He put a training camp out there. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy what these trainers. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even if he gave Robert $2 million, I mean, think about it. That's a bigger purse than Robert got as a world champion in boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he at least got $2 million because, like I say, just looking at Anthony Joshua's reaction, I think he thought he was gonna get it this time and stuff like that. Anthony Joshua basically was like, "Man, what else can I do?" You know what I'm saying? That's why I think he had that mental breakdown. I think.
Yeah, he did. But hey, man,
judging how them cars was looking, he thought he was gonna catch the okey-doke on that one.
Hey, look, man, I agree. And also, let me say this about a lot of times guys talk about old school fighters. You know how old school fighters could pull upsets? See, it's different little things you could do. You start fighting hard the last 30, 45 seconds of the round. You got to know how to maneuver these rounds, man. You get out there and hold for a minute and a half and things of that nature, and then go into, so Anthony Joshua ring IQ is part of his issue.
Yeah.
And his stamina too. And that reminds me of when you have with a lot of heavyweight boxers. Is their stamina is horrible. Like, I didn't watch the full fight. Who's that European guy, Haragovic?
Yeah, Flip.
I just and he fought that Asian dude. And they were both gassing out. Like, they were like breathing with their mouths open and like out of breath, like barely fighting, like only 1 minute at a time. Like, you watch like Larry Holmes and he'll fight like fresh from the first round to the 15th round. And
Oh man, yeah. And they didn't have strength and conditioning coaches and none of that. They didn't get in them cold chambers and stuff and freeze to death and then any of that. Also, Art Man said people say AJ is more skilled than Wilder. Yeah, I know they do. And Sakura said Saudi got plenty to pay out. It's crazy the money they got. And also, trainers go their entire lives without getting paid. And let me bring up an example. Do y'all remember Vivian Harris?
Oh yeah,
who's a junior welterweight world champion from?
Who'd you say? Say the name again?
Actually, from Guyana, Vivian Harris.
Vivian Harris.
He was a junior welterweight champion. He had a trainer, and he won his world title in England. And he got a purse, I think, of like $750,000. Didn't pay the trainer. Didn't left him and went to Emmanuel Stewart. Lost his title, first title chance on the Mayweather Arturo Gatti undercard. But it just shows, man, that trainers don't have they can't take guys to court. Trainers don't. Now, they actually should, because they actually work for someone. You could take a fighter to court, but you very rarely hear about trainers taking fighters to court. And trainers are going to be the first ones that they blame when it goes wrong, because like y'all say, AJ was saying, how did you beat me? You ain't got no skills or whatever. You little, all that craziness, right?
Our man, boy, Wilder fired his trainer.
But right. But AJ is gonna definitely go and say something about Robert Garcia, because that's who it's gonna end up about. But
I think Robert Garcia's getting fired. I don't think he's gonna be training AJ again.
No, I don't think so either.
No. Oh, that's that guy who dead. That's the guy who fought Chop Chop. I remember that.
Vivian fought Chop Chop before too. Shout out to Chop Chop Corley, man.
Yeah, shout out to him. That's my guy.
Mr. Victoria's Secret. He loved wearing Victoria's Secret underwear. That's what he said. I didn't say it. He did it. Wore it in the ring, as a matter of fact, under his trunks, which was a skirt. He wore the Victoria's Secret underwear. He said it made him feel comfortable.
Damn. Okay.
If he fought today, if Chop Chop Corley fought today, he would be one of the biggest fighters in the sport of boxing.
Yeah, he'll whoop a lot of
because he can fight a little bit, and the LGBTQ community would love him. And he had 10 kids. That was the other thing too. He had 10 kids.
He'd be the prince of boxing.
He'd be the prince of boxing.
See, I ain't know all that. I didn't know all that, but I know he had all them kids. I ain't know all that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Boxing.
Yeah, gave Floyd a real good fight. That's another thing. Hurt Floyd Mayweather in his prime.
I think that's
so he can fight now. Chop could fight.
That might have been with Floyd.
And he hurt Cotto pretty badly too.
Oh my God, he had Cotto out. Had that been an average fighter and not named Miguel Cotto, the referee would have stepped in and stopped it.
Yeah.
Okay, Sakura, she said it's all the trainers that build up boxers to the next level, but then the boxers go with the big name trainers. Of course, that's how you got a guy like Freddie Roach. People make him look like the greatest trainer ever when he get ready-made products. Now, he helped Manny Pacquiao, but Manny Pacquiao was already a 2-division champion before he got to him. People forget.
But Froch really did help Pacquiao.
I said he helped him. No, but did he help James Toney?
No, he didn't.
That's the thing. And I feel like going back though, it's like there's only certain certain bonds, with like a boxer and a trainer that makes it special. Like you see Andre Ward, work with Virgil Hunter, but it's only those because they've known each other for so long.
Absolutely,
that synergy,
Yeah.
But,
right.
So when Virgil Hunter works with Amir Khan,
it don't work.
The same thing.
Yeah.
We see that in basketball, right?
Yeah.
You put Phil Jackson on a team with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, he win world titles. Get him on a team with Kobe Bryant and Shaq, he win titles. Then get him in New York with Carmelo Anthony and 11 other guys, he get fired, just like anybody else. Also, Sakura was talking about my boy Chop. He said he still sews his own clothes and design his own shoes. He can still sew. Absolutely. Chop is my man. And I had some good conversation with Chop. And and Chop would admit, if he was here, trainers matter because he was with Adrian Davis and he was with Don Turner. So he was with so much experience, man. You know what I'm saying? That and a lot of these guys today, take for example Devin Haney. The one thing that bothers me about Devin Haney is when you train with everybody, you don't ever build that camaraderie that Sebastian is talking about. You don't even really got a style. Like he'll shoulder roll, but he really don't have the shoulder roll style like that. He's a good catch and shoot guy. He can jab, but the style though, he doesn't really have a style. And in a hardcore fight, in an even 50-50 fight, if it come down to trainers, who is he going to have in that corner that's going to help him to will him through a victory?
Yeah.
So you got to think that, man.
And I like Devin. Devin, but that's why, like I said, I have Tank over Devin. Like I got Tank over Devin, and I got Shakur over Devin because of the exact same reason that you just said.
Yeah. Maybe
I think that he said Art Man said Haney is the closest to Money May style wise. I don't think so because they're so different. Now they got one thing alike because Devin Haney, when he first came into a boxing gym, the first boxing gym he ever walked into was he's the golden child. Okay, the first gym he ever walked into was the gym with Mayweather, and Jeff Mayweather trained him. And then when he went from Jeff, he went to Floyd Sr. And I can tell you his story. Then they opened up that gym called the Hits Factory. He's also trained more or longer with Eddie Mustafa than he did any of the Mayweathers. So, and
Yoel Judah.
Yoel Judah been there from the beginning. because Yoel and Zab was with Devin when he was 6 years old. So much, they've been together so long that there's video of them leading Zab to a fight against Lucas Matisse when Devin was a little boy. Devin is a real talented fighter, real talented. I just worry about the training aspect of a trainer, not him training, because he's always, and he was born in the gym. Absolutely. That's what I'm breaking down. He was born in the gym. He's mastered none, but he has got all the styles together. He's better disciplined than Shakur and Tank. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I don't think he's better than. I don't think he's more disciplined than Shakur.
Shakur is a very disciplined guy. As long as Dev on Top Rank, he don't got to worry about being in any 50-50 fights. So he all good, Julius. Cody, you 1,000% right. Look, thank you for talking sense into me, because Top Rank and the matchmakers, absolutely. He'll fight Cam Wilson.
Well, who could he have fought at 135 that was, better than, for undisputed, Like, I don't know. Yeah. I think he's good at Top Rank. I hate Top Rank because of how they match stuff. But from 130 to 140, they got all the big fighters besides Tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but here's the thing though with Top Rank is though, how long is he going to stay with Top Rank? Because Devin is already a money made dude. So Devin already coming into a situation with Top Rank has already established himself as a business person inside of boxing. So I don't see Devin spending the next 3 to 4 years at Top Rank. And I think that's where it's probably going to come in. And so I think that's where it's probably going to come in, because Top Rank going to say, yeah, we did that deal. We made a little money. But guess what? I don't want to let you leave with them belts, homie. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what he got to look out for.
Oh, they setting it up with the Lomachenko thing right now. Trust me. They are setting that up.
Devin, we had Al Koch on from Fort Hood, Texas boxing team. A bunch of good boxers. Had never picked up a glove before the military. Then had training camps with Roy Senior, team of boxers. I remember Al Koch. He could punch. Also, shout out to Pensacola, Florida. And I got a chance to see Cool Vince Phillips. He was at the Floyd Mayweather going into the Boxing Hall of Fame in Las Vegas and Nevada, rather. And Cool Vince Phillips, got a chance to see him. Him and Roy Jones grew up right down the street from one another. Cool Vince, if y'all remember, was the first guy to knock out Costa Tszyu. Gave Costa Tszyu his first loss. He was a drug addict. He'll admit it, but he overcame it, to get it together for that particular fight. And it just goes to show a guy like Cool Vince, a guy like Kennedy McKinney, it just goes to show, man, that if guys could have just let go of the vices. The reason I'm bringing this up, because he was talking about how Devin is, dedicated and disciplined. But it's been boxers that have been so supremely talented while addicted. Could you imagine how good they would have been if they were clean? So I think Devin Haney going to get everything out of his career. And I think he's a good fighter, especially for this era. Because you don't have to fight any killers now. So you good. As long as you good and you're disciplined, you should be all right.
So, Julius, name me 5 out of all the divisions in boxing. Name me more than 5 killers.
I can't. I would have to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, man, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. Ain't no killers.
Hey, and today,
we did talk about Jared Anderson, but if you want to come up here and talk about him, you can some more. I think that Jared is good. Last night, he don't get his head off the line, and that could be an issue, but he got to step up. I got to see him fight somebody with a heartbeat, Cozy. And I'm going to shoot more and talk more about it tonight. But right now, he got to fight somebody.
Yeah, because he's starting to make me feel like he's going to go down that Errol Berlinga route, man.
Yeah, and Sakura is saying something right now about how guys used to go from Pensacola, Florida to New York to get good sparring with different styles. That's the one thing that I like about Devin, because he didn't really have that big of an amateur career, but he's, he need to be more entertaining. Absolutely. Got to relate more to the he got to be out there with his people more, like Junebug was talking about, how in the 80s and 90s we could see a guy on a Sprite or a 7-Up commercial or a Coca-Cola commercial or a Slit Smoke Liquor commercial. We need those guys. I think he loses to the top. Yeah, because he undersized and it's hard for a heavyweight to box 12 rounds and outbox somebody. I mean, Daniel Dubois would be a good fight for Jarrett though. I give him 2 more fights. He's supposed to be, if he's something, he's supposed to be able to beat Daniel Dubois. But so that's what I think.
Man.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, man, Top Rank trying to build up what's his name? Ali Frazier Walsh to be the next great man.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God, man. And I want to see some DNA that this guy is Muhammad Ali grandson. Let's get the DNA out.
I told you, him and Michelle Rivera would switch that birth. That is not his grandson.
Right, exactly. What is it? 24 me, 44 me, whatever it is. Let's get that out there.
I mean, I think Haney got a lot of connection to the culture, man. If you think about all the boxers that's out, black boxers, man, Tank and Devin Haney probably has the most culture with boxing. I mean, with the culture than any other boxer. I think they got more connection to the culture than either Earl or Bud. I just think boxing in the dark age, to whereas in our culture, unless you're a boxing head, you know what I'm saying.
Well, a lot of it, nobody don't respect. They don't respect black media. That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. And also, I understand what Art Man is saying. The only thing Haney is missing is the connection to the culture. But it's more than that. And that is true. But the one thing that you can connect with the culture, and this is any culture, this is the Hispanic culture. Because I remember Trinidad and Chavez and them guys were considered gods because they never learned English. But guess what, though? I got near Felix Trinidad and I was like, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Hey, I'm doing good. That's what he said. But he got on the camera. I don't know Spanish. So I know that he talked to me in English.
He pulled a Stevie Wonder on you, didn't he?
Yeah. He was like, yeah. I'm like, what's good? But he had to connect to his culture, so he never did an interview in English. Never. You know what I'm saying? He never learned English. And then today they tell guys, in order to cross over, you have to learn English to cross over. But then guys could get those type of paydays. They didn't cross over. They just spoke their one language or whatever that was, and that was it.
Yeah. I remember Spanish.
Yeah, go ahead.
I also knew English. I don't know. For me, what crossed my mind was Wilfred Benitez.
Yeah,
he spoke in English in interviews. Like I remember, I watched this fight with Maurice Hope, and before that, he was talking about Sugar Ray Leonard, but he was talking like really good English, and I was surprised.
He's from New York.
Yeah,
he lived in New York.
Yeah. I'm still not determined that he was not black because he looked just like my granddaddy, bro.
My granddad. Hey, but look, man, it's parts of Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, all over the Dominican Republic that everybody looks, my complexion and stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? That just happen to speak Spanish. And a lot of them are closer to Haitian than they are Puerto Rican or Dominican, but you can't tell them that. I always throw a question out and I never really get an answer. I ask people, are people from Haiti not Latinos? But no one want to answer that question.
My dad would answer that for you because my dad's Dominican. He'll say that Haitians are technically Latino, but like because people always associate Latino with Spanish. And since
Right.
you know, Haitians speak French and not Spanish, it's like, you know, y'all are Latino, but like since you don't speak the language,
Right.
it's not the same. And that's the same thing with also my relatives too. You know, because my
Mhm.
Spanish is horrible. But I say because
Really?
you know, like, since I don't speak
Yeah.
Spanish and not really deep into culture like that, they're like, oh, you know, you American.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and Sakura said Canelo does the same, act like he can't speak it right. But then when he want to speak English, he does. When he want to curse somebody out, you know what I'm saying? Curse him out in English. And
Yeah,
he
but
can
Canelo smart
Canelo.
though. He knew he wouldn't be able to cross over without being able to speak English, and he learned it. So he's pretty smart.
Yeah, because Canelo's the one fighter that you see on commercials, Junebug. You asked that question. We do see him. He also hangs with Steph Curry and all these guys playing golf. You know, looking like an Irishman helps him as well. You know what I'm saying? You know,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And that's why you look at he's so big. He's the only one besides those heavyweights that commanding $40 million purses and things like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why his fights are, you know, events. You know what I'm saying? We as a black community, you know what I'm saying, in boxing don't have that. You know, back in the day and coming up, you had Ali, like I said, you had Leonard. Then coming into the 90s, man, you had Roy Jones who was rapping, and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Then you had Floyd. You know what I'm saying? You always had somebody that you would either see them on a TV show, might even see them have a part in a movie or something. Man, we hadn't had that since the early 2000s, and that's what I think, and that hurts those guys too, purses, because back then, you know what I'm saying, you can command like Canelo right now. If Canelo was to get in a movie or something like that right now, even after the loss to Bivol and stuff like that, he would demand a high purse. You know what I'm saying? Because he has appeal outside of the ring. That's what the new age fighters don't have. They don't have that compared to the old age fighter. Those guys had command outside of the ring.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I like about Gerald Anderson. He's got that little flamboyancy to him.
Yeah,
now, I don't like that he be trying to stun on these guys who ain't really
now. Hold on a second. Art Man said you're a gringo. What you talking about? What, Sebastian? I mean, what gringos in South America? Okay, they in the chat. All right, okay, gotcha. All right, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Because I was confused. I was trying to figure out what a gringo was. I didn't understand it.
I believe that's a non-Mexican, from what I hear.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Somebody who's not Mexican, but yeah, that's one of the things I like about Big Baby Anderson, because I mean, he's flamboyant. I didn't like the ring walk like everyone else didn't like it on the panel. His last few wing walks, I did like the Chucky one. That was cool. I like that one, but like, I like his creativity. He's flamboyant. That's why I like my fighters to be flamboyant. And how can I not, when Roy Jones Jr. is my favorite fighter of all time? So
definitely.
I can't say that I don't like flamboyancy.
No, must have forgot.
Yeah, I mean, I love Roy. So I don't have no problem with a guy stunting on a guy in the ring. But when you licking your tongue out and doing shimmies, please make sure you're fighting a guy who at least got a pulse before you start doing that.
And not only that,
Art Man said he liked Anderson, but he's smelling a little butter biscuit energy. Well, listen, I'm gonna say this. I don't know if you mean when you say butter biscuit, if it's something else like Biscuit from what's the movie? The guy played Biscuit. What was that with Eddie Murphy and Life? Yeah, maybe he called him Biscuit from Life. But I'll say this, man. I like his flamboyancy, and on the top level, you know what I'm saying? If you can be like that and actually produce, and I mean produce wins and knock out, like Roy Jones was Superman. He was superhuman. You know what I'm saying? He was knocking people out. He was doing chicken dances. He was dancing to the ring. He was rapping. He was playing basketball the same day, then fighting that night. So he did a lot of extra stuff. And on top of that, he was beating top level fighters, making them look average.
To this day,
Big Baby can do that. Go ahead. What do you say, Ronnie?
I just wanted to cut in saying to this day, it's still the greatest fight I've ever seen with my own two eyes. When it comes to in his prime, the greatest I've ever seen with my own two eyes.
Hey man, I'm not gonna, I can't debate it, because when I seen that guy in his prime, I mean, he's one of the only fighters, including Floyd, although Floyd was Floyd and Pernell Whitaker, man, was.
But here's the thing about
guys that, you know what I'm saying? But the way that Roy did, you know how the saying, he doing you dirty?
Yeah.
He will do Hall of Famers dirty. You know what I'm saying? And he was just, a freak of nature. And
the true testament of how great he was him and Floyd were in their prime at the exact same time. Really?
Yeah.
And
Floyd was coming into his prime. Absolutely. Roy would beat Hagler, Art, man.
Yeah, I believe that as well. But it's just that's the true testament of how great he was. Like, he was beating on Hall of Fame talent like Bernard Hopkins and James Toney. They weren't even winning rounds against this guy.
No.
He made it look easy.
He did.
Then you got a guy like Floyd Mayweather, who, as I said, by his second year as pro, he was number 2 pound for pound. But they were both in their primes at the exact same time, and nobody really said that Floyd was going to be better.
No one. It wasn't a debate. But also, just imagine this, and we talk about, and Art Man said that Devin Haney was born in the gym. No, Floyd Mayweather was born in the gym. That's the epitome of born in the gym, because his father was a good contender. His uncle was a gatekeeper at best, and then his other uncle was a world champion in 2 weight classes, and you know what I'm saying, and was competitive in the third at 135. He moved up after getting beat up by Pernell Whitaker. So that was the
1 year old.
Exactly. He was in the gym at 1 year old. Right. Exactly. Doing road work with his father at 5. Like,
that's why he seems so illiterate, because it's like he was never meant to do nothing else.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I ain't trying to talk about him, but
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, I think Floyd is a great role model, all things, because even though he only did do boxing, I liked everything that Floyd represented. For people,
in boxing. Yeah.
I don't know about.
I think we all will agree. We don't all support. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could have a show about it. Yeah. But that's why we talking the boxing part. We love.
Absolutely.
That's why I think about the discipline about it when it came to boxing, because
that's why I threw
never drank, never smoked.
That's why.
So you didn't put that finger up to go use the bathroom, huh?
That's why I threw up that church finger. I was like, hold up now.
Yeah, right.
His professional career in the ring can't have a better role model, discipline and stuff like that. But character outside the ring, as a Primo people, I would want my kid to model themselves.
Right, he definitely not one.
I'm not letting my daughter marry Floyd Mayweather. That's not happening, bro.
Right, absolutely not. But yeah, I feel you on Sebastian, and that's why it's really terrible, man, to try to compare guys. I try not to compare guys to now. The only time I rear my old head up is when I start seeing people say, "Oh, this guy would have beat Felix Trinidad, no problem." Or this guy looks like Floyd Mayweather out there doing stuff. Then I say, hold on. Then I end up having to diss the guy. So that's why I don't really, you know what I'm saying? But those guys were freaks of nature. And also, when we was talking about the culture and stuff like that, the thing that a lot of those guys, Tony, Roy Jones, a lot of them guys, Pernell Whitaker, them guys grew up poor, man. I've been to the projects that Pernell Whitaker grew up with. It's right near the Scope Arena that's still there. The big mall in Virginia Beach is right there. The projects is right down the street there in Norfolk, man. And them guys ain't had nothing. They didn't have nothing. And Mayweather father got locked up. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a lot at that point, even though Roger was off doing his thing. So poverty pushed the envelope with a lot of boxers in the past that they don't now. You got more options now. Well, pull on up. Pull on up, Lone. But yeah, man. So you know that has a lot to do with it because there's a lot of options now. I mean, heck, we can get on the internet, make funny faces, and make people laugh, and get a paycheck that our mothers and fathers never got. You know what I'm saying? Like that's an option. Why would I get punched in my face, get my nose broke, or my teeth knocked out, or get killed, or get my ribs broke? When I could just come up here, make some funny faces and crazy noises, throw my hands in the air, kick my feet, get a paycheck, and go home. Come on now. I ain't got to get up out of my bed to make videos. I see people laying in the bed making videos. Come on, man. So it's more options now. Also,
the TikTok world.
Hey, yes, sir. People making millions of dollars just by spotting up at the 3-point line and taking shots. That's for the basketball people there.
Walking on milk crates.
All you need now is to be a spot up shooter. You be a spot up shooter, you will have real estate everywhere. You'll be rich, man, beyond your means. Just be able to hit a jump shot. So it's too many options now for to be like that. Why do you think the European boxers come up now like Ukrainians from poverty? Absolutely.
I mean, because of their amateur system.
They got a good amateur system.
Like I was reading about MJ because I can't pronounce his name, and I'm saying that he's like a unified champ, or he had a shot after like 10 fights, and he wasn't even like a gold medalist; he was a bronze medalist. But like, because of his, his past year amateur European experience, that he was able to fight world champs after a quick time.
Yeah, and I think also too, it's a double standard because the Americans that got that same type of pedigree have to take 15, 20, 30 fights, and the Europeans that come out that they fast track can get title shots in 4 fights or even 5 fights. Look, Junebug Sebastian wasn't here for this question, but Ronnie was. I'm gonna bring this back up because Art Man is on, and this is something that he had been talking to me about earlier in the week. Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor has relinquished 3 of the 4 titles. I personally have no problem with it because I think it's ludicrous if you and irresponsible of you as a human to have a family and allow 2% to get taken out of your purse from 4 different sanctioning bodies before taxes, and you ain't even paid nobody just to say you're an undisputed champion. I think a guy should get undisputed. If he want to defend it once, that's fine. But after that, it's time to give up 2 or 3 of them. Now, what are y'all opinions of that? Go ahead.
I agree where you're coming from because that's what like a lot of boxers did after when they became undisputed. A lot of times they would go for rematches. The first time I'm thinking about Jermaine Taylor and Hopkins, and then Winky Wright and Shane Mosley. They only became undisputed after they won the belt, but then they lost it because they didn't want to fight the mandatory. They wanted to, settle for the rematch. And so for me, I don't know. I think that's definitely a good idea because these sanctioning bodies, they do charge so much money, and a lot of times I don't know. Some of the mandatories be kind of bullshit. So I think as long as you become the man of the division, I think it's fine as long as you're picking like good competition.
Right.
I think so. I think so too because you got to look at the process too. Because after you become undisputed, and most of the time, normally when you become undisputed, you to beat almost everybody, the good person in your division. So after you become undisputed, now you waiting on the next guy to either come up or you finna get ready to move to another division normally. So holding those belts too long, you end up fighting opponents that you can't even get good value from because you to beat, like I say, the process is supposed to be you to beat everybody in that division that was good, that had the belts. So now, why should you be paying 2% for each belt to be fighting Michael Jones from from Fayette, Arkansas, or some stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? So and you can't get no more than 3 million, 4 million off of him because he's not a big no that he's just a new prospect. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steph, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Well,
I'm good this
Julian,
morning, sir. I'm good. I'm good.
Julian, I'm finna get out here. Gotta take that man to the court, man.
Hey, Junebug, go do your thing, man, with them kids. Look, if you
All right.
want to, Junebug, I'll be back at 7:30 tonight, man. 6:30
All
your
right.
time. All right.
All right,
Yeah.
take care.
All right. How was church there, Steph?
It was good, sir. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
I definitely need it, man. It's something in
Yeah,
the water the last 3 or 4 days, so I'm just like, I'm going through some stuff, and I'm just like, oh man. But today, Lord's Day, you're not supposed to do nothing, just chill
right.
and relax.
I feel you, brother. I be forgetting sometimes, man, because some of us already done went out, did our thing, and I'll be like, oh man, he 3 hours off from us. I'll be forgetting about that.
Yeah, man.
Man. All right.
What y'all
Look,
talking about then?
hey, well, let me go ahead and pencil you in. We were talking about the first. We started off with the terrible matchmaking that was on them fights last night with Top Rank. That was an all-time low. Sakura, that's in the chats. Me and her had chatted last night through the tweets, and I was sending people falling and jumping like gymnasts and stuff like that. I just thought it was terrible. Also, we talked about Torres knocking the guy out and how they made the guy, he couldn't even walk, try to get up on the stool. He couldn't get on it. He had to walk himself out. And I just felt it was terrible night of boxing. But give me your thoughts on Big Baby Anderson fight, though. What did you think about his fight? And then you can go to the main event. Go ahead.
For starters, what's going on, Sebastian? I don't think I've seen you and met you before, sir, but welcome to the panel, man. What's up? What's up?
Man, good to see you. Good to meet you.
First off, Big Baby, he's for real, man. I like him. The only thing I didn't like is that I saw some, I don't like when guys are lazy. So, like, when I say lazy, just like he kind of, I don't know, there was some type of kind of stylistic things that was lazy to me. And I'm thinking to myself now, just kind of like how he began the fight. And I don't want to say I'm too mad about him switching from southpaw to orthodox.
I'm not crazy about it.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about it. But that young man, he's they said something on the telecast last night that really stuck with me. He's been in the gym his whole life, man, and you can tell. You can really, really tell he knows how to use his hands and how to fight and box, per se. So that impressed me a lot, and it did impress me enough that when he finally did get clicking, he got that guy out of there. He got that guy out of there. So, and I'm kind of the rest for everyone else. I mean, that's just what Top Rank is, man. They do have good matchmakers over there, but Bob and company, they're not going to put their prospects in there if they're not, if at all, sure if their guys can beat that guy for sure. This is why I give Terrence Crawford give him a lot of hell. So, with that being said, I want to see those guys. I want to see them with the harder step ups. I say smoke, but a lot of people in the boxing realms can't handle that type of harshness. And I kind of been reserving on that, but like I don't care, man. Just feed them, man. I mean, feed them. I mean, guys back in the day, in your day, Julius, you could attest to this in Checkmate. Man, 15 rounds, they threw him in there with the Wolves. You got the smoke, and if you got through it or didn't get through it, you got something easier, and then you kept it moving. But nowadays, we just want to training wheels and hold hands for too long in my take. So it's hard to judge those guys like that. But I think Tiger, I like Tiger. I like him out of all the prospects over there. I like him better than that Zayas guy. I'm not high on him at all. And Big Baby. I like Keyshawn, but he headhunts way too much for my favor. And when you start fighting harder competition, man, and you throw your best punch and they take it, man, you could be in some trouble. So that lets me know, coming back to my first statement, just the matchmakers, they know what they're doing, man, because they're not going to put them in there with anyone who they know they can't beat for sure again, like 100%, at least 85%, sure. If they're 85% sure they can beat him, they'll do it. But if they're not, they won't do it. That's just
I think that a good step up fight for Jared, like Ronnie was saying, would definitely be for Big Baby to fight Effa Ajagba.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah,
I think that's a good fight because I don't think that Ajagba is.
No, I think
all
it's
that.
because Effa was supposed to kind of be like, the next big thing at some point, like he lost to Sanchez pretty decisively, but it's not like he's like washed up now.
No, he's not washed up, but that's a good step up fight. What you think, Steph?
I think he's really, really good, gentlemen. I think he's really good. Like he could fare pretty well against top 10 guys, But I get it that they're not gonna feed him to anyone they know for sure. I keep putting emphasis on that, for sure, that he can beat. But I think he can mess with those top 10 guys right now. You know me, Julius. I'm best fight the best, man. I don't want all this weak stuff. I get it. I get it, but they need to be in there, man. Right. But I don't. Yeah, it was. It was just their prospects last night. But they weren't fighting.
Talked about Cozy talking about Abdullah Mason and the Mason brothers. They can fight. He had a decent test last night, but he got through it with flying colors. But what did you think about the Pedraza Commey fight?
Before that, I like Richard Torres a lot too. I just
go ahead, speak on that.
But okay, you see, like with what I'm saying, he's a prime example. You saw how quick and violent and aggressive he was. That guy needs to fight Smoke. He needs to fight Smoke. Like we can't just keep putting him in there and he can't. What am I trying to say? Dismantle guys like that. He needs to fight someone who's going to give a damn and fight back. Like that's how brutal he was to watch. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't even know if they even have anyone over there like that. Not saying they can't find anyone, but Pedraza got robbed, man. I mean, he got robbed, man. I thought the judges rewarded who's that? Commey for his aggression and the hard hitting. And I thought he only hurt Pedraza once, and that's when he hit him with that left. He caught him with that left, and he kind of dazed, like his legs buckled a little bit. That was the only time Pedraza was in serious trouble because Pedraza and his camp knew that they'd be able to execute that on him. They know where Pedraza's at. But if you scored it, effective punching, effective aggression, defense, ring IQ, meaning his generalship there, Pedraza won, man. Maybe by a hair, but maybe by a lot. I didn't score any of that stuff last night, but if I did, I thought he beat Commey, I don't know, 115, 113. That's like by a hair. But since I use that robbery word, I would say 116, 112, man. I thought his work was, you could see his work clearly. You could just, because he was hitting Pedraza on the hands, forearms, and then I always say this about Joshua and some other cats, like when you're, and the Charlos too, like when your head goes like that, like that sways judges. Pedraza was going like this. He was kind of, he was getting manhandled a little bit, but his effective aggression was enough to hang in there, hang tight, and then deliver a good body punch. His problem, he just didn't have enough power to put the man away. But I thought that was the wrong call. They should have gave it to Pedraza. Not trying to be funny either, because Commey, I mean, as far as his aggression goes, that might have been the best looking I've ever seen him. That might be the best.
Well, let me add this, and I'm gonna say this in all seriousness. When you recycle things, man, I think there should be a recycle limit, because Pedraza and Commey, please don't recycle neither one of them guys, man. I really don't want to see those guys continue to. I mean, they get more opportunities, and this is the crazy part. This is something that y'all guys would be talking about, man. Earl Spence and Crawford and Boots Ennis and all these. Let's see them on TV like we see Pedraza and Commey. It seems like we see Pedraza and Commey all the time. Like, really, like, I don't want to see them guys no more. But I feel you on that fight. I thought Pedraza won it close, but I'm just saying, just from a general perspective, can we kind of not see him? And then they was like, oh, well, if he wins, Pedraza can move on to TO and this and that. I'm like, come on, guys. Like,
they're the new Ray Beltran.
Yeah, right. I remember Ray Beltran, right?
Yeah, they're the new Ray Beltran, so they're gonna be around for a while,
right? You know who Comey need to fight next? I got the perfect opponent for Comey next. Move back down to 35 and fight Keyshawn Davis. Let's see it. Let's see Comey in with a prospect. You get what I'm saying? Now it's getting interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go see them guys fight this guy that got fight Keyshawn.
You know what?
Yeah, I agree. Prospects should be fighting, faded world champions. It gives them good experience, and they're faded enough so that they won't probably win. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Let's see that.
I like that. I like that because, like I said, I like Keyshawn Davis a lot, man. I just think he headhunts a lot. So then, maybe he get in there with someone like Comey, and Comey takes his best shot 2 and 3 times, and you see how Comey was fighting for his life yesterday, right? With that urgency. Yeah, that'd be a good fight, man.
I want to see that because, man, it get to a point where, you can't justify Comey or Pedraza getting a title shot. You can't justify it. So if you can't justify it, and we don't want to see Comey fight Pedraza again, put him in with a prospect. Same go for Pedraza. Let's see him get in there with a prospect, not T.O., because T.O. don't want a world title, right? So I want to see him fight someone else. Get a and it don't have to be chess with Top Rank. You know what I'm saying?
He still fights like a prospect in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Are you talking about Pedraza? Well, T.O.
No, I was saying I watched T.O.'s last fight.
Okay, T.O. Okay,
yeah, he fights like I didn't watch the full fight because I got bored of it. But like I saw him he was trying to do the Ken Norton crab defense for like a split second. Then he's going back to using the shoulder roll. Like he's trying to find out what his style is. Like
I agree.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
Styles.
That's what I said.
That's why it's hilarious that Loma lost to this guy because T.O. wasn't even that good. Like, yeah, he's a big 135 pounder, but like he's not like I don't know. He's not like Pernell Whitaker. He's not Shane Mosley at 135 or Floyd. He's just like he's a decent boxer. Don't get me wrong, but like for somebody as hailed as much as Loma, like he should have made easy work of him.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you this, and this is just an opinion. That makes Loma look worse and worse every day because you did absolutely nothing for 7 rounds against an ordinary fighter. I have to be honest. At this point, I look at T.O. as an ordinary fighter. I don't look at him as no hot shot, prospect or some can't miss Hall of Famer. He looked like an average fighter that one day gonna be taking those fights like Pedraza and Comey and gonna be fighting prospects himself. That's what he looks like to me. And you lost to that guy, and yet people call you all-time great and stuff like that. What you think, Ronnie?
About Comey and Pedraza or about Lomachenko?
Just about everything we're talking about. Yeah, definitely. You can throw Loma in there too. That's
okay, well, starting off with Comey and Pedraza, you can tell I'm getting older. Like I've gotten older because I wouldn't have skipped the club night to watch these two guys fight, man. And I ain't had nothing to do yesterday. So that's the only reason I suffered through this fight. It actually turned out to be a good scrap, but I'm not checking for none of you guys. In terms of Comey and Pedraza, I'm not mad at the draw. It's one of those things you have to look at twice because when I was looking at it live, I had Comey winning. But then when I watched it earlier this morning, then my scorecard changed and I had Pedraza winning. Because I had Comey winning the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th round. And then I had Pedraza winning the 1st, 4th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th round. That was how my scorecard went. So I had Pedraza winning by 1, but in terms of I mean, I don't care about the draw because I really don't care about these two fighters. But one thing that was making me mad yesterday when I was looking at this, and I was scoring for Comey for aggression, but as Steph said, it wasn't effective aggression. He was letting it go balls to the wall the first 4 or 5 rounds, and then after that, in true Comey fashion, he slowed down, and he can't keep up with his work rate. So I definitely have Pedraza edging him out. But one thing that made me mad yesterday was looking at when they put up the CompuBox numbers, and that's why I don't care about CompuBox, because they put up the CompuBox numbers like on, I think it was round 5. They put it up. They had Pedraza edging out Comey in power shots 80-79, and then they had Pedraza edging him out on body shots 45-11. What fight was this where they was scoring all these punches that Pedraza outlanded Comey? He didn't. Not to that extent. That's like a 50 punch difference. No, through round 5, no, absolutely not.
Well, you do know that the CompuBox and is not like field goal attempts and field goal made like in basketball. It happens so slow. You can see the shot going up and you like one, like they going, you know what I'm saying? So
but
the guy might miss 2 of the punches, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I get that, but then you're looking at you're lying to the consumer at that point. What about, like, we know that because we know boxing, but when you're looking at people who might have put this on and say, okay, well, let me give boxing a chance. And then they look at the CompuBox numbers, and the CompuBox is telling a completely different tale of what the fight I actually watched. And it's just my opinion. I just didn't feel like Pedraza outlanded him by that significant amount. But I did have him winning.
I disagree, Ronnie. I disagree. For starters, and it's just this year that I kind of finally flipped my thinking on this when it comes to stats. And I love CompuBox. Shout out to Dan. He came on a Chicken Talk, and I got to talk to him and ask him a multitude of questions. But, hey, those guys don't always get it right. And this is why the effective aggression is so really important, because Comey, my friend, was just letting his hands go, right? So it certainly looks like he's, touching the guy, which he is, but he's not landing anything. Definitely not anything significant enough to be effective punching. So when it comes down to the effective punching, Pedraza definitely was landing and having success with what is that effective aggression? Getting, whether he's moving forward, but he's getting in place and getting out of place to be hit and to deliver what he needs to deliver. And he clearly hit that guy. Notice, and then, when I use that word again, effective aggression, notice Pedraza really wasn't going anywhere. He was just boxing and moving around with the guy and getting in and out of the place. So Comey, and believe me, as much as he was throwing, if he landed something, man, he probably would have knocked that guy out. But he wasn't doing any damage, man. He was not doing anything.
I just pray that there's no rematch, because I really didn't want to see it the first time.
That's why we sitting here saying,
and it'd be all right.
Well, okay, well, y'all throw me an opponent y'all want to see Pedraza. Since we agree that Keyshawn Davis is a good opponent for Comey, how about Pedraza next?
Gary Antoine Russell.
Good.
Yeah,
I would love to see that. Okay.
Regis Prograis. He can't secure a fight, so come ahead and put him in there with Regis.
Regis need to fight anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put him in there with Catterall. I mean, another guy they can put him in the ring with who seems to get all the shine away from these young fighters would be Victor Postol. He seems to get a lot of fights.
Yeah, Victor Postal, shout out to Victor Postal, man. Went back to his wife after that loss that he suffered from Gary Russell, the stoppage. Quick thing now. This is something I normally don't do, but I think that I can't ignore it anymore. I mean, it's just too loud for me to ignore. Steph probably don't even know what I'm talking about here. But so we talked about the Devin Haney situation with Ring Magazine and him relinquishing the title, okay? And he giving up the belt, come get your title, all that. So yesterday, a young man on Twitter exposed one of the writers from Ring Magazine. Michael Mantora. And he put out a series of serious, and I'm not kidding on this, serious allegations, serious statements that Mantora was making himself, that he sent out on tweets and put in message boards about him, having issues with black people on welfare and a lot of other, things that he said, and also about taking drugs and lasting all night with women and raping them. And this was his words.
That was crazy.
And I'm just gonna ask a question that's common sense. If we're seeing this, right? Okay, and this guy is like considered, for our sport that we like, boxing, it would be like a guy working for CBS or one of those that's working with the Ring magazine. At this point, how does this guy keep his job? Or what does it say about you if you keep a guy like that employed after information like that comes out? Steph, I'll let you go first because I know you don't really like situations like this, but it's just a little too loud. Like, we got to address it at this point because of the Devin Haney situation. Because if it had just been a blogger going at a guy, I probably wouldn't. But the aspect of Devin Haney and this guy writing and being biased, go ahead.
I was gonna shoot in there real quick and be like, I want to ask another question, or to add on to your question.
Go ahead.
But I answered my own question, and I was gonna ask, why is the ring belt important?
It's
simply
not.
because
it's not a real belt.
Because it's just a marketing tool, and
Right.
it's a shame today in today's age, in the last, I would say mostly throughout the pandemic, it's been used that way, or even before it slightly, because not arguably, no one cares about Undisputed. I mean, no one cared when Oleg won and with the cruiserweight. No one cared when Crawford won. I think the only time I even gave a dang, man, was and I still do give a dang, truthfully, because he did it rightly, and it's well deserved for those type of bragging rights, would be Jamel. But
oh yeah, definitely.
Back to your original question, he should be he should be subjugated to that and should be held accountable for it. And if it does cost him his job, he should lose his job.
Yeah,
Simply,
I'm gonna email and call the ring tomorrow morning.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Julius, I've really trained my eye and I protect my mindset all the time. Just I'm trying to think of the best way to really explain this, because I obviously I care, sir and gentlemen on the panel. I do, but when I say I don't care, it's things like this that is really taken away from boxing, man.
The joy of boxing, right?
Right, exactly, and more so, we're not even concentrating on the boxers, and we're not. Again, when I say now we're seeing. I always say this, Julius, in the chats. Like, see, now we're not even talking about boxing anymore. We're talking about
right. We on to some other myths.
We're talking about everyday life, everyday morals, and decisions and things like that. And gosh dang it, man. He's in the wrong. And if Dougie and his board and whoever pays him don't do anything, powers that may be, they're in the wrong, simply put. And I respect the people who are gonna keep chanting to have what am I looking for? Integrity and look for change there. Yeah. But I guess that personally, I just don't like it mixing in with the boxing.
Yeah, it's a shame because I really like because you mentioned Dougie, because he's responsible for the Best I Faced series where he interviews these boxers and he asks them, who is the best boxer they fought. I really like the series, especially when new ones come out and whatnot. But knowing that what Douglas himself,
and he's good with track and field too. That's another thing a lot of people don't know. Dougie is good with track and field, but I'm gonna go ahead and say my little opinion. The only reason that I even care in the slightest, because me seeing people make comments like this, or that is not surprising. I you know what I'm saying? It's like I know it's there. I know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? But the only reason I have to say something is because promoters use these marketing tools and they end up, oh, well, you know, Ring Magazine don't even have your rank here and or there, and you know, the boxing public don't know you. These conversations happen in the negotiating room, and it hurt fighters' purses based upon certain writers' commentary on about you. And if a guy has those type of beliefs, I mean, would you? We want him in a position where he could dictate, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like this lady that we end up getting fired from social services. This lady was a racist. How are you going to be able to work at social services, ma'am, when you know what I'm saying, 50, 60, 70% of everyone going to come in going to be a minority of some kind? Do we really want you in there? So that's my outlook on it. Is that the only reason we are forced to have this, you know, talk about it in boxing is because we don't want it to stay in boxing. That's, I guess, maybe I said it crazy.
No,
that's how I kind of think.
I'm with that. I like what you said there. We don't want that in boxing. But I think my take is always, this is why I just don't give those type of takes any breathing room. I won't even let them live, per se. And I really like to use the PBC for an example because, I mean, gosh, dog, if you let them tell it, boy, the PBC is hell. It's hell. They do everything wrong. But I am one, and I like to preach to any listening ear that, look, man, you got to let the work show. Let show for itself. I mean, Sam Watson, Kelly Swanson, Al Heyman, GTB Promotions, the Brown family, they do a remarkable job on making an awesome show, man. I mean, and then the product is the boxers. And as much as people hate, I'm going to use that word hate, but who talk down on some of the boxers who are being displayed, boy, do they put on a hell of a show, man. Even the most boring of guys. So I just let the work show, man. No disrespect to Top Ranking or yeah. And then, you know, fast forward to Golden Boy, dude, they look terrible. Like nothing good is going on, man. Nothing good. And I'm not trying to be funny when I pick on them, but I'll be looking for things like that. Like I'll be looking at the work, and then you know you never know what Oscar. He's kind of a wild card. You never know what he's gonna say or do. But I will say this, ever since Canelo left, they fell apart. I wonder why that is. Think about that now. Think about that. Ever since he left, it has not been. I don't want to say it hasn't been good. It's just been a hard sell.
Well, how about ever since Al Heyman and Richard Schaefer had left, it has been the dumps, and it was one guy holding it together. You know, y'all ever been in one of those neighborhoods where is a piece of wood is just hanging off this house, and you look at it and be like, I wonder if when it's gonna fall, and it just stick there for, you go past it for a year and you be like, man, it's been like that for 2 years, and then all of a sudden one day it just falls. That's what happened with Golden Boy when Al Heyman and Richard Schaefer left, and then when Canelo left, that was the ending of it. What you think though, Ronnie?
Well, my take on it is the internet is undefeated. You know, Thank
you, brother. That's the point I'm really trying to make. That's why I don't like getting into that stuff, man.
Right. Yeah. greatest fighter ever imaginable, the undefeated internet heavyweight champion of the world. So I'm never surprised when someone turns out to be racist. Like, it doesn't surprise me at this point. Like, because I mean, I guess I'm not gullible. I've seen it. So if someone ever I take everybody at face value. I respect you until you give me a reason not to. But I'm never surprised when you show me one. It's like one of them things where you
show me
your
who
hand.
you are.
Yeah. You show me who you are. Show me your hand, and I mean, you believe him at that point. So I mean, this guy has a track record of doing stuff like that. Golden Boy in general has a track record of things like this. When it comes to those emails that they sent about Al Haymon that they didn't think was going to get out, calling him a black Marxist, calling him the N-word, calling him Black Hitler. Do you know how much you have to hate somebody to call him Hitler? Like, that's one of the most disparaging things you can call somebody. And then, you got the people who eat it up. They look at these articles and they agree because this world is full of sheep. This world is 90% sheep, 9% wolves, 1% shepherds. That's how I see the world. So you have all these people that are going to echo these sentiments. So I'm not surprised he said that. Big ups to Devin Haney for standing his ground on it, though. I wish other fighters would follow suit because the Ring magazine, as you know, as Steph has said, it's just a designation. It's like a bow on the Christmas tree. It's like a cherry on top of the ice cream sundae. It doesn't mean anything. It's just like, especially with these fake ranking systems, it doesn't really mean anything because people start lineages all the time. A guy retires and then you all of a sudden saying somebody's the lineal champion. Well, he didn't beat the guy, so how is he lineal? So it's like one of those things where it's just it's jumbled up. It's just a whole bunch of crap, a whole bunch of mess. So I'm not surprised. I don't think anything is going to happen to the guy because the track record says that nothing is going to happen to him because I don't think boxing is big enough for it to actually be an issue when it comes to the mainstream media. CNN is not going to look at Michael Monferio's Twitter and put it on, front page news of CNN and have people expose him. Nothing's going to happen to the guy.
I have a question though for you guys.
Yeah.
Here, hang on. Did he just meaning Devin? Did he just up and do this, like up and drop it, or did he just do this because of the recent updates on that list?
I think it's like the updates. I think seeing the pound for pound rankings was just like the last draw that he had. Yeah. I think that it was something along those lines. And at least that's what he said.
He saw Lomachenko's ranking, and that would really set him off.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest.
I didn't know that. That's why I asked.
I have never released a pound for pound ranking, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. Because to me, they are almost meaningless. You know what I'm saying? As far as me. So I might do one if we get together and do one, but like I don't really care if ESPN ranks this guy 1. Or if Ring Magazine rates a guy 5 or 6 or 7. You know what I'm saying? Because like y'all said, man, it was a time when Ring Magazine meant something. Remember when it was Ring Magazine versus KO Magazine? You know what I'm saying? Like that was where we got our info from. Like now, like you said, the undefeated #1 internet, it gave all of us a chance to come together and talk. And then when we come together and talk, we find out something. I'd be like, dog, man. Like Steph, Sebastian, them guys, they know more than the people that write for Ring or write for KO. You get what I'm saying? Like you start to figure out something like, man, like, am I crazy that the best minds on sports are people that don't even be on TV or, so you start to find out these things. So at that point, it makes it irrelevant what they talking about because you look at them like, man, they don't even know what they talking about.
Well, you can look at the list right now, and I'm like you, Julius. I don't really care about the pound for pound list because they taken away what the true essence of the pound for pound list really means. Like the fact that you have a heavyweight ranked #1 pound for pound when the list was created as a hypothetical question, if you blow up this guy or this guy, will he be able to compete with the heavyweight champion of the world? But you have a heavyweight ranked at number one. It's redundant. It's redundant because the number one fighter in the world is a heavyweight. Is the heavyweight champion of the world. He would beat everybody on the list. So really, it's meaningless for you to rank everybody else behind them because the heavyweight champion of the world is the best fighter on the planet, bar none. So it's just that they've had different guys come and go and have changed the mindset of what the pound for pound list was. It was supposed to be a designation with the celebrate smaller guys that didn't get the attention that the heavyweights got back in the day. So it doesn't mean anything to me. And that's why I don't really, and on top of that, Ring Magazine, who's really buying Ring Magazine now? Do they still publish?
I agree. And look, guys, I gotta say something because I like to see Steph smile, man. So I'm about to bring up something. Steph, you ready for that $200 million payday that Usyk gonna get when he fight Tyson Fury February 11th in Saudi Arabia?
Dude, I almost jumped literally into the internet when I heard that. Like my body was about to transcend into molecules and jump. Just it made me go crazy, man. Go ahead, sir. I want to hear this. I thought about you too. I was like, if they heard this crap,
hey, I'm just kidding on that, man. Guys be tripping. But look, let me explain something too, guys. I'm gonna go live again tonight at 7:30, 4:30 your time, Steph, because I've been on for 2 hours. Also coming in the next couple weeks, I'm gonna dig into. It's gonna be like an old school show about fighters from the South, and this is gonna include guys that we didn't even know was from the South, where some people didn't. Joe Frazier, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Ray Leonard from Maryland, I thought. That's
what makes sense. He was born in Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
What about Sugar Ray Robinson?
Steph.
God, no, I didn't know that.
Steph.
Man. Joe Frazier was born in South Carolina. Joe Louis was born in Alabama. Thomas Hearns was born in Tennessee. So we're gonna talk about a lot of that stuff, man. And you know what I'm saying? And we're going to talk about fighters that we knew that was from the South and didn't know was from the South and moving to the big cities, how that's more marketable. If a guy went to Detroit at the age of 13 to say, hey, he's a Detroit, Michigan fighter. We're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. It's a specialty show that's going to come up in the next couple of weeks. But, hey, Sebastian, I appreciate you, brother, coming through today, man. You know what I'm saying? Ronnie Bravo, Steph. I'm coming back tonight in 3 hours. I'll be back at 7:30. Gonna take a halftime break, and then we're gonna come back. Steph, definitely come back so you can shoot on everything at 4:30 your time. So look, I appreciate y'all guys. Everybody came through. I don't know who Ice Cube is. He said, I know that in boxing, usually the guy who hits the other guy is the one who wins. That's true. Most of the time. We've seen it not be true, Ice Cube. But anyway, so look, man. Y'all guys come on back. Sebastian, look, this is your first time up here, man. Did you like it or what?
Nah, yeah, it was good. I always love talking boxing.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt.
Well, I'm gonna give you a fun fact.
Boxing fans, man. It's hard. It's hard to find boxing fans.
It is. It really is.
I talk boxing with people on the internet. I don't talk boxing with anyone in actuality. My own best friend.
Yeah, I got to talk about in a few hours, because I have a coach that's from Chicago. His name is Eddie Davis.
Okay.
And he was a corner for some of the he was a corner for Larry Donald when he fought Evander Holyfield.
Oh, Larry Donald.
Montel Griffin as well. Like he's met a lot of Chicago boxers. And
shout out to Montel Griffin, because that's my man. Anytime you 5'6" and you can compete with Roy Jones and James Toney, beat James Toney, and you can do this at 5'6" at 175, you know what I'm saying? You doing something. And Larry Donald had a great amateur career. He just ran into some giants, man. He ran into Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield. I mean, when you fight those type of guys, I mean, you know, at their prime, you fighting the top echelon that ever lived and walked this earth. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to them guys, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna come back at 7:30, man. I hope y'all can join. I'll be sending some links out you know, about 7:15 or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. That'll be cool.
All right, okay, man. All right, y'all take care.
You too.